To ladies and gentlemen, here let's see. This is a confirmation that documentary that may fatally said what we are really doing, the differences, our differences with these peoples. It's very clear that Sudan set up a civil war in order to trace a Sudanese whereabout on Sudan copyright. We talk of Sudan copyright rules, regulations, and Sudan laws as RSF and SAF, which is SAF, traces must end. This one, the SPLA, which is the SPLA, of course, the South Sudan Borders issues and the forces. Okay, so let's just go via these statements here together, ladies and gentlemen, to furtherly see that this is if you see around Sudan, that is over 10 million Sudanese total in Juba, Sudan currently. Okay, that elderly, they must comply as Sudanese. They are Juba, Sudan, and then we have a few of them. Uh, they are forced to join tradition South Sudan, and then we say no, they should do no is that is typically Sudan. And if you read all the statement here, the statement we hold here, you read it thoroughly, and then you will be able to, of course, know that we are we are within the areas that we must reach. So we hold it right there for you. You take your time and then you go via, because it's not easy to read or the whole the statements here. So it's very confusing and very not easier. So you read it yourself and then try to understand that this map here, the new map, which is the flat Sudan, the flat 7, or the 7, or the flat Sudan, which is this one, or 7, or the clean Sudan that we have right there must be understood thoroughly. Okay, the case scenarios must be understood thoroughly. Okay, so that is quite reputations of that particular area. If you see, we hold it right there. You can be able to read the statements yourself, and then you can read furtherly yourself, and then our chat information, the conference details, the minute per those conference, and then how they are chatted. And then you can be able to see here quite a variety of areas that we chat, and then what solutions right there. Those are the solutions and suggestions we have available. Okay, think that this is a trace, of course, is a trace which is basically set to find this case here. The case on the map is not a copyright cases. It's not a copyright. Okay, so till they find is a copyright. Okay, the copyright is this one here. This is the copyright, and if you see, this is a Sudan, of course, this is a Sudan right there, and they want the map to be like this. The government of Sudan want the map to be like this. This is the copyright. The SPLA and the South Sudan people, they refuse it. They don't want the map to be like that, the copyright. So we are as a government, we are sent forceless. This is the guy which is behind that map right there, behind the scene right there, behind this map right there down here, are confusing the copyright policy to proceed. So it's very hard. So what can we do, and what solution do you expect people will have around there? So that is the areas that people are really configuring and asking. So on the media about Sudan, okay. So if you look, that is basically the trace, the fact about Sudan, and then how Sudan itself works. Okay, let's see. With we go with the map itself, and then let's see on the map particularly. You can see right there on the map. This is not the copyright we are talking about. This is not a copyright. This area here is not a copyright. This area here is not on copyright. The copyright is the blue or the green we open you right there is the copyright. So they want this line here to right there to be one. Okay, over Uganda right there and over Libya as one. This is right there, you can see as over Egypt as it to Uganda, or we meant Libya to Uganda, or we meant right here to Uganda to Egypt as one Sudan. Okay, so that is one Sudan. That is what people are talking about here. You must get those details here and then try to understand it. That is mandatorily people after that one. Okay, so the case is like this, quite difficult, of course, quite difficult, because that is to trace if that fake map right there you are seeing may end, and then so that they will be able to have the regulation, the law, the rules set out again. You know, those rules collapsed around 2010, and for which they almost demolished all the part of Sudan. Darfur is demolished, uh, and if you talk of Juba area is demolished, and for which many area is under suffering from that very particular year, and then they ease it around there, and then the cases of this South Sudan that came into implement, and then they stuck there for roughly 13 years, let's say it. And then hopefully Sudan Trace, which set this new collapse of the South Sudan, and then if you see there on the refugees Sudan sent to Juba, and then they are saying, yeah, they will even flee South Sudan as the Sudan crisis continues. That's why it is putting them this one a trigger to leave that particular regions and then go to another countries. And then which countries, if they are South Sudanese, they say that they are no longer Sudan. And then which countries shall they be going? People talk of they should go and construct this kind of area on the map here, this kind of area, this kind of region down here on the map. They have another line down here on the map. Let them construct this sea, and then turn it to a land, and then build that map over, or let them go to Nigeria, somewhere very far, and then become a refugee in Nigeria if they are not interested as a Sudanese to be in a Juba, because Juba is divided into two. As a South Sudanese is divided in two, and then they have South Sudanese, they have a Sudanese there also residing. That is depend on how much you learn computer. Okay, if you have a computer, you have a cameras, your YouTubers around Juba, you know those guys who live there in Jubas, they have their systems which they are putting there. They are putting Juba Sudan, okay, Juba comma Sudan, to specify that they are Sudanese in Juba, and then those guys that are not specified as a Sudanese, and then they describe themselves Juba, South Sudan. So that is up to them, and then it is mostly happening in Bargazal. And if you look on those maps, we have even another map right there, up right there, how we cut it, the blue pink map right there, has that cases which we saw you guys in several other invasions. You are very aware how we did that isolation in the middle. So that is how the division was all about. But now, as we emphasize much, and the Sudan rose with the civil war. If you go to Uganda these days, nobody calling now South Sudan's name. South Sudan name, they don't call it. If they call it for purpose of violence, for purpose of maybe helping Sudan gain back the land. And then that is all they will call that particular area. And if you go to Kenya, it's the same thing, because we have Ugandan UPDF, we have Kenyan KDF. They all participated in Sudan civil war. Okay, and then this guy, which is the SPLA guy, which is the South Sudan accelerator, also participated there as well. And then but those people, they don't know them very much, but Sudan military, some of the Sudan military happen to know them. And then some of them, we put them even on now, we share the files. When they're there, they put them alert, and then they are looters, and then they are smugglers, and then they are tumors. Of course, they are pretending to be the Sudanese as well, and then the South Sudanese. That's why. And if you look at this root cause of the war, the violence is all about that divisions. There are two people mouth, but particularly for Khartoum, that is just Khartoum, Sudan, and then does people knows that much there, because they are raised up in the city, they grow up in the city, they are born in the city there, not in the village of addition Juba and area, and then they won't be able to argue very much about another name other than what the copyright really entailed or untold them in the histories. So that is the history base. So this is the categories of the histories, and then how those areas are configured. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take this one here as a considerations, and then the mandatorily that is overview.